Thank you, Anna. Can you hear me? Yes. My name is Moisés Gómez, and I'm working at UPC, and I'm also doing a PhD in biostatistics. My main advisor is Guadalupe Gómez, and my co-advisor is Professor Daphne from the University of Athens. Thank you. I would like to give you an overview about clinical trials and a statistical methodology, but focusing my talk on a new platform called CompARE that is used to calculate the primary endpoint in the choice of the primary endpoint in clinical trials. Here you have a clinical trial scheme. On the left, you have the total patients population. You take a sample, and then you assign by random a placebo treatment in one group and a new treatment in the other group. And then, after a period of follow-up, you compare the responses of each group by the primary endpoint. So it is very important to choose appropriately what is the primary endpoint in a clinical trial. This primary endpoint can be a single or composite, single as death or composite as death plus stroke, for example. Under a statistical point of view, there is a methodology based on the asymptotic relative efficiency. Please don't panic of the formulas, but basically is that when the relative efficiency is higher than 1, you should use the composite endpoint. Otherwise, you should use the relevant endpoint. This asymptotic relative can be calculated by the probabilities of observing the relevant and additional endpoint, treatment effects, Spearman correlation, and statistical distributions. This information can be anticipated by the clinicians before the study. So since this is a very complex methodology and formulas, we have designed a new platform that, as I said, is called CompARE and based on a free software called JIPI, to allow investigators to calculate these values of relative efficiency in each particular clinical trial. Then how does it work? First, the user introduces the information, and this information is sent to the server and calculated in a program that is very known in the statistical area called R, and then the results are shown in the same web page. Here, you can see a screenshot of this platform, and you can see that the input of information can be, for example, in this case, a little bit death and a stroke, and each column is the required information you need to calculate the values of the asymptotic relative efficiency. So it would be as easy as that to calculate this relative efficiency without the knowledge of statistics or the methodology that is behind that. Once you introduce the information, then some results are shown numerically and graphically. Numerically, for example, in tables, where you can see in the last two columns, the value of the relative efficiency is lower than 1, then it means that it is more recommended to use the relevant endpoint, not the composite endpoint. This way, you will need fewer patients to carry out your clinical trial. Moreover, there are other plots where you can see that which scenarios would be preferable to use the composite endpoint instead of the single one, and the distributions of your information. And to sum up, we are building this CompARE platform to calculate the ARE values and help investigators to choose what is the best option for the clinical trial design. And we are thinking about a better version to be released soon, including sample size calculations and applying my PhD new methodology extensions. And that concludes my talk. Thank you.